freedom. It's synonymous pretty much with nirvana. Moksha and nirvana mean the same thing, really. Nirvana means literally what does nirvana mean?
Liberation.
Blowing something out. It means blowing something out, right? Literally, nirvana. And sometimes people got the wrong idea and still have the wrong idea that this means some kinds of extinction or something like that you just go into, oblivion or nothingness or, like that. And it doesn't mean that. It specifically means blowing out what? Your unhappiness. Blowing out your unhappiness. Blowing out your unhappiness and the causes for it. Mental afflictions. And somebody once asked me, you keep talking about happiness all the time. Happiness, happiness, happiness. What is it? Define it. And it seems to me, you guys can debate me and debate yourselves about it, but it seems to me that in the Buddhist tradition anyway, happiness is the absence of something. Happiness is the absence of kleshas, the absence of mental afflictions. When you remove mental afflictions, you are left with happiness. It's very interesting. That's why some traditions say this is our basic nature. This is the pure blue sky, and clouds are just kind of covered it up. And you get rid of the clouds, and you're just left with happiness. See, it's really interesting. It's like we're sick. We're infirm. We have an ailment, which is unhappiness. And if we were cured and got back to our healthful state, we would be happy. The absence of pain is happiness. The absence of pain. Absence of suffering. And most of us have no clue what that would feel like. We just, have like the barest idea of what happiness really is. Which is why it's the first thing that the Buddha said, actually. It's really interesting. After the Buddha's enlightened under the Bodhi tree, right? And, the gods all come and beg, please teach, please teach, please teach. And I said, I don't know, maybe I will, maybe, no, I don't know. Playing a little hard to get, a little coy. And finally says, okay, I'll teach. And he goes and he turns the wheel of Dharma, right, at Sarnath at the deer park. First thing he says, what's the first thing he says post-enlightenment? You guys are suffering. I know because I'm not. I know now that you guys are suffering because for the first time I'm not. You see? And until we're enlightened, we don't really know what happiness is, actually. We just have glimmers. We have like some faulty little fake versions of happiness. So it's you can think about your happiest moments in life and then just start like magnifying them thousands and thousands of times. And that's what enlightenment is. See? That's what enlightenment would be. Moksha. Freedom. Liberation. From what? From problems. From unhappiness. From mental afflictions of any sort. So, the godlike traits are conducive to liberation. That's why they're there in the list. They lead you to that state of ultimate happiness. While the demon-like ones are thought to lead to bondage, to nibbanda. Some of you yoga people here, bandhasana. Yeah. Yeah, bandha means like bound. You're bound. You're yoked. You're enchained. Many religious traditions talk like this, right? Yeah, I'm in chains in this world. We're like, we're imprisoned here, and freedom is the shaking off of those chains. And actually the more difficult it is in this life for you, the more you understand that. It's people, mostly people like us in this room who have a hard time understanding that because our life is so cushy. But people who have a hard life, the African American churches. You go to the African American churches, for example, especially in the urban ghettos and stuff like that. They have all kinds of this imagery. This life sucks. I'm in chains here. But when I go to heaven, everything's just going to be cush. Everything's going to be happy. And all religions are teaching some version of that. That's the truth, actually. And it's only people like us who go, oh, those uneducated people, that's so quaint, talking about their chains and, going to heaven on their chariots and, swing down chariot and all like that. Oh, that's so quaint. We're so sophisticated here. We know us, you know, it's not so bad. Life's not so bad, you see. And it's as bad for us as it is for them, actually. We just have it just hasn't, the bubble hasn't popped yet. It will. It will. I heard a big debate recently on a podcast about whether the suffering of a person who's, well, here's the setup, okay? This girl goes to college, and her mother has been in this sorority, her grandmother's been in this sorority, great-grandma, so on. Her biggest aspiration in life is to get into this sorority in college, and she doesn't get in. Is her suffering any less than the suffering of someone, you know, living on the streets of Calcutta? And in a way, you could argue it isn't. For her life just came to an end, you see. Her world just was blasted. And, you know, we're all like that. Oh, my SUV doesn't start, you know. And, and it's suffering. For us, it's suffering. And, you know, I don't think we should diminish it, you know. We should, oh, well, you know, the people who are really suffering are people living on Calcutta. Everyone's suffering. Everyone's got their own suffering. There's suffering of all sorts. There's suffering of losing your children to, you know, some preventable disease in a third world country. But there's also suffering of, you know, having your car not start. And it's pain. No matter how it comes, it's pain. It's suffering. So until we get serious about the fact of suffering, you can't really get serious about trying to get out of suffering. So I'd say for many people who are really, you know, feel like maybe they're beginning their spiritual career, that would be a good place to begin. A good place to begin is just think over and over and over and over again, is this life going to work out? Is it going to work out? Am I going to somehow be saved from suffering by going to work, by saving my money, by spending all my time with my relationships, by, you know, going shopping all the time, by watching stupid, awful, and boring on TV? Is that how I'm going to avoid suffering? Or do I have to do something a little bit more radical than that? You see, a little bit more unplugged from the causes of suffering. These are the real causes of suffering.